Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrate to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now today's video is what the topic is actually about. If you happen to click into this video, we're going to talk about the 3 do's and the 3 musts that's required once you graduated and hold a 485 visa. So obviously Australia has become the second popular country for international students to actually come, visit, arrive and study their higher education or their trades skills with. Now obviously the government of Australia has offered, well, I don't know how long this has been, probably 15 years already, in order to actually have a graduate work visa. So the government of Australia is promoting international students to come to Australia, study, and once you graduate, they give you a work right. So you can stay in Australia to continue your work and find whatever that's required in your occupation in order to achieve in your career. And if you're doing great in Australia, perhaps within the point test table, you will meet the requirement to lodge your skill migration visa. So what are the 3 musts do that you need to require and remember after you graduate in Australia? Because a lot of people just spend their time, cruise around, graduated, get some part-time, hanging around with friends, but at the end of almost towards the end of your 485 visa, they're scrambling and getting called out, say, well, what do I do? How can I continue to stay? Well, perhaps that will be a little bit too late. So in this video, we're going to talk about 3 musts that you require to get that done and plan it ahead in your graduate work visa. So the first but not the least, obviously you need to graduate. Well, if you don't graduate, you can't get your graduate work visa, and that's pretty easily understood. And you need to get your skill assessment done. Now in my channel, I've been promoting, if you're really interested about skill migration or perhaps employment sponsor visa, you really need to get this done. If you don't have a skill assessment, that's the first gate. If you don't have a skill assessment, you cannot do anything. I got too many people leaving comment and say, look, I am an expert on this and have done this for several years in this country and that. I've been traveling around and I achieved this and achieved that. Can I do this? Can I get this visa? Now, all my answer back to you will be, have you done your skill assessment? Why skill assessment? Because skill assessment is the mechanism to confirm whether or not your skill set had meet the Australian standard and meet the skill requirement. If you don't have those standards and requirements be met, and with a positive result from your skill assessments, obviously you cannot do anything else. You will basically be cruising around, and towards the end of your visa expiry, you just need to leave, and that's so wasteful. Thinking about you, if you have spent so many years and time in Australia and you build a lot of friends in Australia and you just leave, that's just such a waste, right? So we need to get that right. So once you graduated, the first thing towards will be skill assessment. Now there are numbers of skills do not require work experiences in order to get skill assessment, and those ones are generally in your higher education courses that you're required to conduct internship and pracs. For example, nurses, for example, engineers, for example, architects, and those ones that you actually conducting, and teachers, right? Those ones, if you're conducting work practices and internships during your studies, those ones are generally the occupations won't require additional work experience in order to get skill assessment. So that's very easy to understood. Now, if you study something that does not provide any practical internship, for example, IT, accounting, and all others, then and like Coke and Chef, and well, Coke do trades to provide internship, but they need you to have more work experiences. So anything other than these ones, you're required to have more work experience in the occupation that you're in. So for example, I've done so many videos on this one. So for example, if you graduate as an accountant, you don't go out and work as cook and chef during your graduate work visa. That's just so wasteful, because that has no value towards your skill migration procedure or proposed plan at all. So getting something, the employment done, is actually very, very vital. Now I'm going to talk to you on that one later on. So the first thing, the must, is you get your skill assessment done. Now there are 3 occupation categories can actually access to professional year, which is going to be the ICT profession, accounting profession, and also engineer. Those 3 can actually access professional year courses that get you more points and that actually get you work experiences too. So I think that's a very worthwhile to actually do some research on that one. I've done a video on that one a long time ago, and you can check it out, and it's all on the there's so much information out there as well. Then the what do we need for the second and the third musts? Now obviously the second will be the work experiences, and that connects directly, some of the occupation connected directly to your work, to your occupation. So if you don't have those work experiences done, your skill assessment cannot be completed. For example, if you're a marketing specialist, if you're an advertising specialist, if your specialty and your occupation is in some managerial role, for example, hospitality managers, restaurant managers, cafe managers, if you do not have any work experience post qualification, that means after you graduate, then your skill assessment will not be approved with a positive result. Okay, so skill and experiences is actually the key to actually get your skill assessment. So that's the second must. Once you graduate, whatever the occupation that you're in, whatever the profession that you're in, stick to your profession. Now, one may ask, what if I cannot find the job that I'm supposed to be in my occupation? Well, then you probably need to relocate yourself first thing. Okay, finding I think there are plenty of jobs in Australia. It's just where that you're required to go. A lot of people don't want to move their butts, and that's the problem. There probably will be a lot of job opportunities 100 kilometers away. Just move your butt, relocate yourself, you get your job, and you will continue on with your skill assessment plan. Okay, so don't just stick to where you are. Say, oh, look, it's just I have to look around myself within 20 kilometers diameters away, and I cannot find a job. So I cannot find a job. No, that's not a solution. If you are a solution finder, find a solution and go where the solution will lead you to go. Okay, so that is the key thing. Now, so that leads to the second point. While you got your skill assessment done and you got your skill experiences, obviously, as you can see here in the points table, that adds to more points for you. So if you got skill employment experiences, look at this. Obviously, we're not going to talk about overseas, because you graduate in Australia, you get graduate work visa, you'll be able to work in Australia. Why not get your points up with all these work experiences to be accrued? So if you get done 1 year experiences, after that you deem to be skilled, you get 5 points. And if you got 3 years, you get 10 points. Now, no one's gonna get to 5 years because you don't even have that long visa. But nowadays, due to pandemic, your 485 visa can be extended to from 2 to actually 4 years, which is very good. So a lot of people can actually meet this 5 points and the 10 points mark easily nowadays. Now let's come to the last part. Now the last part of the must is to actually improve your English. Now, if your English is already good enough, for example, if you are a graduate of nurses, obviously before you enter, you're required to reach that IELTS 7 mark in order to be there. So you may think that's high enough. Well, probably not. You may want to seek higher mark. Why is that? And why is it a must? Because nowadays people are getting superior and proficient English, that is IELTS 7, that is a norm now. If you wanted to migrate with a skill and you don't have a proficient English, you probably, the only way that you can actually do without this is really move yourself to regional Australia. Rather than that, and even a lot of people go to regional Australia, for example, if you go to Western Australia and regional Queensland, you want to get nominated by these states, their standard requirement is proficient English. Now, even if you're a cook, even if you're a chef, even if you're a hairdresser, even if you're a carpenter, now these states require you to have proficient English. Now, so people may ask, what are the states that do not require that? Well, obviously, I've done a lot of video in my channel. Why don't you check out the playlist for those 491 visas states? For example, Tasmania, South Australia, and Northern Territory. But rest of the other larger state with the capital city capacity, with better economy and opportunities, will require a standard of proficient English. And I would strongly suggest a must try and must do during your 485 visas is to try to achieve superior English. Now that's equivalent to IELTS 8 across 4 bands. You may want to try TOEFL, you may want to try Cambridge, you may want to try PTE academic, you may want to try different type of English test, but getting a superior English has somehow become trendy, and where people can actually, catapult themselves with additional 20 points, and that is so vital. I can tell you, I haven't really seen anyone not getting invited if they have achieved superior English. Now that is the fact. Now, obviously, some people may argue during these 2 years there has been a long way, blah blah blah. But this is caused by the virus, caused by the pandemic. But if we remove the pandemic element away, I have not seen anyone not being invited with their achievement of superior English. So here we go. Here is the 3 must and must-dos in your 485 visas, period. Anyway, should you have more question, query, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below. And I'll see you next video. Goodbye.